Hi, this is Ian Cariaga from Guru Yoga, and today we are talking about grief and its association with the lungs. So, this emotional energetic connection. And let's begin. We're going to explore this from a yogic, an emotional, and energetic perspective, and that's the lungs, from what we know, energetically are connected to grief. So in both traditional Chinese medicine as well as yogic philosophy, it's really the grief is deeply connected to lungs, right? So from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, the lungs are the seat of grief and sorrow. Right? When we suppress or avoid grief, it creates a stagnation of or deficiency in lung energy. So we understand in TCM that energy we call chi. In yoga, the life force would be considered what we call prana. So in the yogic perspective, the subtle body and prana, the life force is generally received and then circulated. And when we're grieving, it can lead to a constriction of the breath, maybe reducing the intake and the flow of prana, or pranayam in some cases. So we call breath pranayam. And the breath could become shallow. It's also symbolizing that the soul's hesitation to actually engage with life. So usually when you're grieving, everything's put on pause, right, or on hold, or it's taking a little bit longer than it should. And where the lungs are associated, you also have anahata, heart chakra, right? And which that is generally associated with love and compassion, and it overlaps this region in the upper torso. So when grief is unresolved, the heart center or anahata can feel closed, heavy, and somewhat vulnerable. So there's certain things that we do to assist in opening up through that, and then maybe going through the grieving process if you are in that stage or revisit that stage from time to time. And we're using pranayam or breathing as a path to healing. Right? So it's not really just a type of technique, it's also a spiritual and energetic tool for transformation. So we do that to get to higher levels of consciousness, right, through the awareness of our breath and the consistency of our breathing techniques or cycles. Right, and I'll explain now how it actually helps with grief. So it regulates the nervous system. So you're shifting from the fight flight mode or sympathetic INS to the rest and restore, which is parasympathetic, just calming that down. It just also starts to move a lot of the stagnant energy that may be trapped within you, right? Because energy cannot be created nor divided, it's just moved and exchanged or transferred. So the breath here at pranayam is a carrier of prana, energy, life force energy, and conscious breathing helps move anything that's blocked, whether it's a thought or an emotion that may be stuck in some way. So, and how also pranayam, how it helps with breathing, or how the breathing helps is just brings presence to the body, allows us to feel what we're suppressing in some ways, whether we're suppressing memories or traumas, right, or worrying or tension, anxiety in some ways. And from this, what we do with the breathing, if it's done correctly, is that it starts to create a net, like a safety net within. Right? When sometimes when things feel overwhelming, you're doing your pranayam, your breathing, and it's a way to anchor you to maintain in the present moment, right? Because you're always in it until you actually take yourself out of it. So here's some suggestions for pranayamic grief support, and I'll say them in Sanskrit and then in English. So you have Durga, which is a three-part breath. What this does is just brings your awareness when you're doing it, just bring awareness to the belly, the ribs, and the chest, and really you're trying to promote an expansion and spaciousness where you feel that you feel contracted when grief starts to creep up on you, right? And this type of breathing as well starts to massage the lungs and the diaphragm, creating a little bit of softness. So there's less tension through that area, less constriction, or you'd say tightness in the chest, right? So you would go start from breathing into the belly and then to the rib cage and then into the chest on the inhale, and then going from the chest to the rib cage to the belly on the exhale. So that's Durga, right? Your three-stage breathing cycle. Next is Nadeshodhana or Anulom Vilom, which is your alternate nostril breathing. And with this type of breathing, I do this literally in every class. It balances the energy channels between Ida and Pingala, which is masculine and feminine, but also the main conduit we call Shushumna Nadi, right? Really, it's about bringing balance. Regardless of what turbulence is happening, it's slowly trying to bring it towards a sense of calm, right? And when you calm, it becomes clear, right? In regards to what you need to do to restore some sort of clarity and balance in moments of emotional trauma or overwhelmingness, if that's a word. And then we also have Brahmari, which is the happy humming bee breath, which I love. And then this vibration is a way to just soothe the vagus nerve, which is the longest nerve in your body, and anahata, heart space. So this type of breath is similar to like you hear the bees buzzing, to that effect, and really just reconnects you to your own internal resonance. If you find that there's an equilibrium that is not balanced, right, there's an inequilibrium, you'll know it, you'll feel it, you'll sense it, you'll think about it. Try the Brahmarati breath, right? It helps in stages of, say, if you're crying, if you're panicking, some sort of soreness or heartbreak in a way, not necessarily romantic, but just in general. And we could also do kumbak or kumbaka, which is breath retention. So we have puraka, which is inhale, then kumbak, which is a pause, you're retaining the breath within you, and then you have rachaka, which is exhale. So what this does is really give you a greater awareness, and we say that the only time of presence or moment of presence is in between each breath. So it's about accepting and calming down within that acceptance. When you inhale, you're going to pause and just observe, and then exhale to possibly accept, right? So this is really a way that you can focus on your breathing. And if the grief is somewhat acute and sharp, do it with care, right? And maybe guided through meditation. I have some of that stuff on YouTube. All right. So really, those are 4 types of breathing to help with grief support. And with this, you really want to just honor the grief that is occurring, right? It's not a problem to be solved, as most people tend to think, right? That I need to get over this grief, or how am I a way to get over this grief? You actually just roll with it, right? So it's a process to actually be witnessed, right? Witness yourself breathing, witness yourself observing. And with this, it's a type of tapas, right? Burning off, purification, right? That hopefully will just reveal the depth of the love that may have been, I guess, distant in a way, or not readily seen because the grief has taken its place, like a fog or a cloud. And when we start to observe the breath a little bit more, it starts to become more of like a bridge between your Atman or Para-Atman. Para-Atman is soul, Atman is spirit, and the body. So between memory and presence, between heartbreak and healing. And instead of resisting your grief, just start to allow your life to flow through it again. Right? So hope this helps. If you need additional information, or if you have any questions that you want some answers to and insights, don't hesitate to contact me on info at guru.com. I'll get something from there, or you can go Patreon and just hit me up, DM there, maybe DM on Instagram as well. So Patreon is probably my go-to at the moment, so I'll get the messages straight from there. So if you're not on it, please join it. Patreon.com/om108, OM and 108 is the tag, and hope to hear from you soon. Thanks again. I'm Ian Kiryaga, Guru Yoga. Namaste.